But yeah, let's get into the exclusive rights free agents who the Niners tendered. Chase from Over the Cap actually yesterday, I believe it was reporting that the
Broke the
49ers
news.
are expecting to do this. And then today it was official. So let me.
It's kind of weird that guy broke the news. That some guy from Over the Cap broke the news. Not like an
It's
insider or anything like that. Just did the 49ers just call over to, hey, we want to make sure you adjust this so everyone knows. Hey, you got the in here.
Alrighty, so the free agents that they tendered, and these are exclusive right free agents. These are guys that are going to have low cost. I'd say at the end of the day, more likely to be just camp bodies. Maybe one or two of these guys actually make the
Minimum, I think they
roster,
paid. Yeah.
but we'll have to see, what else the Niners do in free agency draft, maybe the trade market. But linebacker Jalen Graham is the first one on this list. Former 7th-round pick, was a guy that we released last season as he didn't make the cut, went to the Washington Commanders, and then the Niners were having linebacker issues with injury, so then they brought him back. What are your thoughts on Jalen Graham?
I actually was shocked that when we first cut him, I was genuinely shocked. I know there was talks like saying, yeah, he should get cut. And some people were like, I would be shocked if he was cut because he showed flash. He had some ability there. His problem was he just couldn't tackle. Mm-hmm. And I've been like, you know what? I've seen 49ers keep people who can't tackle before. I've seen it. So maybe he'll keep stay on the roster, especially over someone like Bethune, who was a 7th-round pick himself. I just thought he would make the roster for sure. And so when I saw him get cut, I was relatively shocked. And then seeing him not succeed with the Commanders and be on their practice squad, I think it was. And then we signed him. I could be wrong. And then he went back to practice squad. Obviously, he's not that guy that we thought he was. And hopefully he can develop into one because it's not impossible. We've seen players like they've been practice squad guys, and then it just takes them like 4 or 5 years to finally get it and click it. And it's possible for him because he has the athleticism. He has the ability to be a linebacker. He just needs to really just put it all together. I like it. I do think he's, like you said, I think he's just going to be like a practice squad guy, someone who's like, if one of our linebackers gets hurt, we're going to bring him up. And then worst comes to worst, he'll be a fringe 53-man guy type dude. But especially if we end up drafting a linebacker, though, I don't expect us to keep him. If we draft a linebacker, that linebacker is probably going to stay on the squad. If we take some sort of special guy who's undrafted that we fight for, kind of like Evan Anderson, for example, we kind of fought for him, paid extra money. Just something like that, special circumstances. But he's definitely on the outside looking in on a job.
I actually going to disagree with you here because I think the thing is you have Dre Greenlaw, who's a free agent, and then who do you literally have at linebacker right now? So it's like I think he's a guy. Just looking now, I would say he could be making the roster, but again, we're still into the offseason where things can definitely change.
Well,
but right now, I'm not going to.
That linebacker right now.
So right now we have Fred Warner,
Curtis Robinson is a restricted free agent, so probably will be back because no one's going to give up.
ACL, and then we have
Bethune,
and then Jalen Graham, and then
we just
Drake Green as a free agent, and then we just released Demetrius Flanagan. Full still be back because I know the Niners do like him on special teams, but also I'm thinking maybe the new special teams coach Brant Boyer is thinking maybe something different. But I think Foles has over 2,000 snaps or something like that on special teams, so maybe they still bring him back. Who knows? I'm not gonna say he's not gonna be back. But yeah, I just think. Also, my thing with Jalen Graham is I personally was not shocked he didn't make the roster last year. Watching the whole preseason, I was like, he kind of looked out of place at times. He has the speed, that's for sure, but definitely needs to still clean up some things. But maybe
Robert Saleh could fix him, and it was really kind of like maybe it was more of a Nick Sorensen thing kind of type deal. Put him in the wrong spot, the wrong place.
Yeah, could have been the scheme. So maybe he'll be able to succeed better with a guy like Saleh and continue to work with Johnny Holland, the linebackers coach. So that's one of the guys. And then Alex Barrett, to me, I don't even understand why he's still on the roster.
I know,
like all these years, because I'm like, he's always just sitting on the practice squad, and it's nothing against him, but I'm just like, why are they just not moving off?
Yeah, he's really he's just there. Like he's obviously just a 49ers favorite. Like Kyle Shanahan just likes him. The D-line coach just likes him for some reason because it's not someone you need to really sign exclusively. Kind of someone you could just let go. I mean, a body you can find anywhere else. I feel like, yeah, that was kind of, yeah, I agree. I think Alex Barrett is just a nobody kind of type person that's never going to crack the roster. I agree. There's not really much to say about that. Just, I don't understand the love for the guy that this team has for him. I do absolutely don't get it.
I was like, okay, I get it that we're bringing him every year, and I'm like, just now, I'm like, dude, he doesn't like he'll get elevated once in a blue moon, and then you just don't even really see him. So it's like kind of just I'm like, you could probably find someone else that maybe is just a little bit better or something. But
take a chance on someone else that could be better at least. Like you know what the product is with Alex Barrett, and it's bottom tier, like bottom barrel shit. So you might as well just go somewhere else. I agree with that.
Next up, we have defensive lineman Sam Aquanu. I think this one makes a lot of sense. We saw what he did this season. Now, I think the 49ers definitely still need to improve the trenches. And if he's just a rotational guy, because I think he definitely shouldn't have been playing as much as he should have been, but just the depth was lacking and the starters was lacking. So hopefully the Niners can really go after that maybe in free agency and the draft. But I am totally fine with Sam Aquanu being back.
Yeah, him being back would be it's great news, honestly, just because he obviously showed a lot of potential. I believe I think it was his rookie year, wasn't, or was it like his second year or something like that? I don't remember entirely, but
like
I know he's
third year because I know he's been with the Titans or something.
Yeah, he looked like he was an absolute gem for us. I mean, especially in that defensive scheme that was absolutely atrocious at getting the quarterback. He was probably our second or third best pass rusher outside of Leonard Floyd. I mean, he really was, and he can play inside as well. He's got that tweener ability too. So I mean, he can.
Like
he's
that
good
Armstead.
Depth. Yeah, he's got excellent depth to him. I'm not expecting him to be a starter, but I do like the depth that he brings to the D end situation. Like you said, it doesn't answer the D end situation right now, but it's like if you were worried about a third guy, he's your third guy.
Next up, this one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but this position has just been abysmal for whatever reason. They just cannot draft anyone after George Kittle, and that's tight end Jake Tonjes. I mean, you went with Cameron Latu in that third round with your first or second pick, I think it was, in that Jake Moody and Jair Brown draft class. I mean, he was a defensive lineman or linebacker or something before he became a tight end. Like,
right? Yeah, I think he was a linebacker or some shit. Yeah, he was.
Like,
yeah,
so
that's crazy,
raw.
Dude. He was.
But, I mean,
so
Jake
raw.
Tonjes, man, I'm just like, all right, whatever.
It had to have been a stress pick. It had to have been like, we don't know who we want at this point, and let's just pick someone.
It's crazy though, because there were so many tight ends in that draft, and that was a deep tight ends class, and you struck out on both guys that you ended up. Yeah, exactly. Terrell Cameron dropped too. Yeah. What do you think about the Jake Tonjes?
Was he part of the Packers? I thought he was a Packers guy, wasn't he?
I know he was a Bears guy.
He was a Bears guy. Okay, it was something like that. I know he's on another team. He was on the roster. I didn't even know that he was on the 53-man roster.
That's how bad our tight end group was.
That's how bad it was. It was so underwhelming. Like I was like, wait, I thought we cut that guy. I thought he was no longer on our team. Nah, man, he was just our fourth or third tight end where we never used. It was just Saubert and Kittle, and that was it. And he just never came to fruition. I feel like at this point I got a feeling this is more of a feeling than like anything, but I just feel like he's not going to make the roster, and it's just a body just in case we miss again on a tight end, or if we can't find a good veteran tight end in the free agency, because there's not many tight ends free agency wise in this free agency class to really kind of pick at. So it's really a draft kind of situation for the tight end situation. But if they can't find one, probably just have them as depth just in case. Because it's always good to have. It's kind of like how I feel about Jake Moody. I don't want him on the roster, but I like him being there as a standard. So like, okay, this is the level of play. Now I want the rookie that comes in or a vet comes in. You need to play better than this guy. Same thing with Tongas. Like, can you play better than this guy? Like, set the standard. Like, there's 90 minutes. It's a 90-man roster.
That was the issue, I think, with having Jake Tonjes is who the hell was he actually having a competition with? Eric Saubert, and that's it. And the Niners, not even with him, actually, because the Niners were going to keep 3 tight ends. I thought they would keep 4, but they ended up going with 3. Like, originally, they only had 2 tight ends, and then I guess the day after, they made some roster moves, and then they brought in Jake Tonjes again. But I was just like, there's nobody else that he had to beat out anyways.
Yeah, he was going to beat out Saubert, and Saubert.
The expectations were already so low.
Maybe it's for, like, Mason Pline, because Mason Pline had –
He's so raw, though.
Yeah, maybe this year he can put it together because isn't he tall as shit? Like he's a tall dude.
Yeah,
Like
no,
6'8",
he has
right?
some
6'8".
basketball background too. Like I like
Tight
what he
player.
could be, but I still think he's maybe 2-3 years away or something. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. Telling us
This
he's a nobody. I don't think he's gonna make the
Yeah,
roster.
this next one is defensive lineman Evan Anderson. He was a guy that eventually got onto the 53-man roster as an undrafted free agent. Absolutely love this guy. Again, what I said with Sam Ekwonu, I hope this guy like makes the roster, but I hope that the depth is obviously and the starting, defensive tackle position is better. But
Yeah,
to me, man, Evan Anderson was one of our best
if
defensive
not the
tackles.
best
Yeah.
of the bunch for sure. Evan Anderson he was really good in the run game. His potential from what he showed was, and I know a lot of people like to use this comparison and stuff like that, but he looked like the DJ Jones of this era, right? He looked like the next DJ Jones kind of type guy. And I think this year he could finally put it together and actually be that guy in the D tackles, maybe be the number 2 for sure, or even he has the ceiling. He does have the ceiling to be a starter. He does. He showed a lot of flash. I'm not going to give my hopes up and be like, hey, he's a starter, guy, so let's just not draft one or pick up one in free agency. But if you have a guy who has that potential and at how much you're paying him, I feel like without a doubt this guy's making the roster. I have no question in my mind. I would much rather keep Evan Anderson over Samo, in my opinion. Evan Anderson's solid. He's the big dude. He's got the energy. He's got the size. He's flashed a couple times on my screen, even just like Samo did. He's a really good player, and I feel like he has starter potential in him. And he could put it together this year, the year after that. He makes this roster. If he doesn't make this roster, I'll be shocked. Even if we draft a D tackle and sign a D tackle, he's going to be on this roster.
I don't know. I think he'd be good as like a 4th or 5th guy.
Yeah.
But I do like him as a depth guy. Next guy, Austin Pleasance, offensive lineman. I mean, they just brought him in because they had so many offensive line
Picked him up the McDonald's drive-through.
issues.
I'd like to order a McChicken and an offensive lineman.
Yeah. But I'm just like, okay, camp body to me.
Believe it or not, though, I disagree with that, though. I think he actually is going to be – I think he's got potential. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter right tackle or he's going to beat McKivitz, but when he played for us, for Brock Purdy, out of like – I don't know. I think we picked him on December 19th, and he played like 10 days later or some shit like that. He played really good. He had a couple penalties, which you expect for someone you just pick up. That happens. Mm-hmm. But he shut down a couple guys, and he looks like he has potential to be really good depth and maybe even better than McKivitz.
He's got that potential.
I think you may have a special steal here with Austin.
That's absolutely Creighton.
I promise you, dude. If you go look at those games where he played, he looked solid.
All right, hold up.
Charlie Heck on the other side and left tackle looked really good too as well.
Yeah, hold up.
I don't think he allowed any sacks either.
Let's see, Austin Pleasance was quite pleasant or not.
Well, you're full of shit. There's no way this guy seems solid. I think he's got some potential here. He has penalties. He has like 2 or 3, I think. But I don't think
this is 49.4 PFF overall grade, 49.3 pass blocking grade, run blocking 55.7. All right, 1 penalty, 0 sacks allowed, but it was on 67 snaps. Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot, but
4 pressures allowed, no quarterback sacks, no quarterback hits allowed.
For a guy you just dropped in there, I don't expect his PFF to be good, to be honest with you. Yeah. But he just dropped in there. If you're talking about what he did in the end, he didn't allow any. You would expect someone like that to allow sacks. You expect that guy to allow hits and stuff like that, and he didn't do that. He was really good depth piece at right tackle. No, again, I'm not saying
he can be a practice squad guy. I'm sorry. I just want better offensive linemen, and I want I want that Eagles type of offensive lineman. Get me a left tackle of the future that can maybe play right tackle for now. Get me a
Charlie Heck is the future left tackle, brother.
Oh, he's the future. All right, and the last 2, we've got tight end Mason Pline. This was, I think we kind of talked about him a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm fine with that. Continue to have him as a project type of guy. Maybe see what he has now. Yeah, and then Braden Willis, I'm just like,
Is he restricted exclusive?
yeah.
Oh, he is. Okay, I thought he was still a rookie, but okay.
Well, I
Rookie-
guess because they had released him
Oh, that's right.
originally, like otherwise he
Yeah.
would have just been a
He was supposed to just be a receiving tight end, special receiver,
Yeah.
no like blocking ability, like that, which is really shocking for this offense to pick up a guy like that, to just be like, let's get a
Yeah.
receiving tight end. That was kind of weird. You usually like blocking has to be as part of the agenda when you have to pick up a tight end here. Got to go out and get a tight end, fill up
Yeah,
that room.
Braden Willis isn't the answer. I'm hoping the Niners actually try with tight end this year and actually hit on it, because the thing is, if you remember last year, they were trying to get Brock Wright from the Detroit Lions. They gave him a 3-year, $12 million deal, but because he was restricted, Lions had the ability to match, and they did. So